After 2 weeks of confusion over the government's refugee policy, Labour and New Zealand First have settled their squabbles and announced the refugee quota will be lifted to 1,500 before the next election.
Though only just before the next election, the increase doesn't kick in until July 2020. Political editor Tova O'Brien reports.
Refugees enduring extreme hardship, they're images that have sadly become commonplace. This from Greece today. Earlier this week, refugees rescued in the Mediterranean. And on the Syrian border, this has been the situation since 2011. Through it all, our government squabbled over this.
The coalition government has agreed to lift the annual refugee quota from 1,000 to 1,500.
You'd be forgiven for feeling a sense of déjà vu, for thinking this was already government policy. The immigration minister had announced it several times as government policy.
To see an increase in the refugee quota.
So too the Prime Minister. In fact, this was her first international interview as PM.
We have absolutely maintained, though, our commitment to doubling the refugee quota that we have in New Zealand. It was an important point of principle for us.
But then this in Nauru 2 weeks ago after questions from Newshub.
We never made a commitment to double the refugee quota.
Winston Peters teaching Labour a very public lesson about getting ahead of coalition cabinet consensus, though he's trying to blame the media for asking. Do you feel that Labour got ahead of the cabinet process?
No, they didn't get ahead of the cabinet process. You did. And you were found out. Sorry about that.
There was a conspicuous absence at the announcement. Why weren't the Greens at this show of unity?
Oh, no particular reason.
Did you invite the Greens to be here?
I wasn't involved in the setup and the logistics.
The Green Party wants the quota pushed vastly higher to 6,000.
Do you feel like the Greens are being listened to in this government?
Well, we've got the decision made today really fast and we're pleased with that.
They're more of a camouflage party than the Green Party. They just weren't there and they're missing in action.
National would consider winding back the policy if in power and is convinced Winston Peters got big gains for his support.
1,500.
So you don't suggest that Labour has got Winston Peters in line?
I'd suggest it probably means the opposite of that. Winston Peters is holding them to ransom and we'll see the size of the secret deal in due course.
Has there been any quid pro quo for New Zealand First support?
That is not how this government works.
But in times like these...
So Tova, who are the big winners from today's announcement?
Sam, firstly, refugees, so there's a long 2-year wait until we welcome those additional 500 and we don't yet know which regions they're coming from. Secondly, the Prime Minister, this had to go her way. Anything but would have decimated her credibility and she needed to draw a line under this messy situation before her big trip to the United Nations next week. And thirdly, Winston Peters, the wild card. The Prime Minister says she doesn't horse trade over policies, but as the name of his party suggests, this is not core New Zealand First policy, and in politics you rarely get something for nothing.
Tova, thank you.